Welcome to another Soccer Down Here 1v1. Time to catch up with CEO, President Marco. Would Grand Exalted Poobah fit as well on the business card for Greenville FC?
Sure, whatever else you want to put on there.
All right, we'll go to the back of the business card. CEO and President of Greenville FC, Marco Carrizales. And the reason that we're checking in to start this particular 1v1 off is last week on the show, we were talking about a lot of cool things happening with academies in places like Richmond and Greenville and what's going on in Chattanooga and things like that. And we mentioned the fact that Greenville FC is now forming the Greenville FC Academy, which you're referring to as an early stage developmental program. How much thought and how far did the thought process go back to have this idea and get it from idea to actually being on paper?
Yeah, well, so I was fortunate enough to grow up in a system similar where we were fully funded, and I was part of FC Dallas's youth academy. So I kind of, since 13 was raised in a program where, there was no financial burden on my parents, and, really you were, kind of competing to keep your spot there. But, it's something that we, throughout the course of our first year, kind of dipped our toes in the youth space with, a couple of youth clinics and camps like that. And what we started to see and realize was that parents were, very appreciative of it, that, A, it was inexpensive, and B, it was an opportunity for their kid who, for whatever reason wasn't involved in a soccer club. We had a healthy mixture of kids who were playing, for clubs locally. But then a far majority of the kids, they for whatever reason weren't playing on a club team. So, and kind of a lot of that came from us realizing that it was either from for financial reasons, or, maybe the parents just, maybe didn't see the value in it. But, so, yeah, it was kind of something I've always wanted to do. And just, it was really, I never thought it'd be possible, but, now with kind of the platform that we have with the club, we're able to do things like that. So, there's just, with having it fully funded and not, having to charge families and whatnot, it's, there's some things you have to figure out. And so that's us working with, where from our, generated revenue can we pull from and fund some of it, but also find some partners locally who, are willing to support it, and help these kids train. So, it took some work, but really it was kind of really from when we started, it was just a matter of when we could do it. So we felt we're at a good point now where this second year we can launch it and run it and see how successful it is. And really the interest we've already received from families has, we're looking at probably a 30 to 35 kid club to start. But the interest has kind of far exceeded that. So, we're going to have to obviously go through and kind of, pick and choose for this year and see how we can grow it the next season. But, we're excited about it. And it will be an academy in the sense that we'll have these kids together to form a unit that can train together consistently and play internally. On there, we noted that at this time, we're not formally entering any leagues. And that's just because we need to see what's going on and how it pans out and what the interest is like. So really, it'll be a cool program where these kids will train together and play together and get to know each other throughout the course of our season, so we can have our players pop in and train and train them, make appearances, have our coaching staff there. So we're looking at really impacting these kids at the earliest stages in their career, where in my personal opinion, is almost like the most important period of a player's career. It's when you learn those, fundamentals that really set you up for success in your career, with learning how to properly pass a ball, or, proper technique when taking a touch, or properly shooting. So it's really important to kind of get them at that age to, set that strong foundation. So, maybe some of these kids will, stick to the sport, love it, and maybe want to go on and play college or professionally. So, it took some time, but, really it was just a matter of like, hey, let's just launch this and let's get it going. Let's stop, talking about it, and let's kind of get it rolling. So, we're real excited about it.
you're looking at local youth ages 8 through 12, and it's fantastic that the demand so far is so far exceeding supply. For those who've never been in Greenville, Asheville, Spartanburg, in that area, in that tri-market, what does soccer mean to that particular area of South Carolina, and what's it like to see it through, I guess, year one of GVLFC? What's it been like to see what it means to kids of that age and to those impressionable athletes and those who want to follow along with Greenville FC? What does it mean right now in that area?
Yeah, I think it means a lot, with Asheville City doing really cool things locally or close by. And what we kind of launched our first season, it was kind of, it was really big for the city, I think, in the community, because, having been previously in the soccer community here as a player with Furman University, I got really, my hands involved with youth clinics, youth camps while I was a player. So I got a real sense of what the youth community was like. And then, with the whole planning of the club and the purpose, it was just because I sensed that there was kind of a lack of that, outside of college soccer where the city can really rally behind a team that has Greenville associated to it. So, it was big from a fan's perspective and just kind of your average, soccer fan who might not have ties to Furman or Clemson or USC Upstate or, where they're like, can wear their club's colors. This was kind of the opportunity. And I think, hopefully just one thing we talk about is that mentally for the youth, having, Greenville Football Club here would be, beneficial for them. Because I know when I was growing up in Dallas, Texas, I had that direct pipeline from rec to high-level youth to, academy soccer to college soccer to semi-pro to, all the different levels and then MLS. So there was, for me, at least mentally as a player, when I was 8 through 12, I said, okay, well, I can see my future because there's the highest level here that, I want to play for one day. So I'm going to stick to soccer. I'm going to train harder. So that's kind of with the academy, we wanted to hit that 8 to 12 age because, we have our, obviously first team, our group of players who, a lot of them are local. So mentally, if we can get these kids in this academy to think, I want to be involved in this sport and I want to train, harder, play harder, love the game more because ultimately I can see where my career might take me. So I think hopefully for the youth, it's kind of creating that, that kind of linear, thought process of where they can see themselves going. So, I hope that with the academy, starting, that only kind of enhances the soccer landscape. So,
and obviously you can catch up if you're interested. Go to gvlfc.com/academy, and if you're interested in supporting the academy, go to mgmt@gvlfc.com for the email address. And before we let you go, I wanted to kind of get into year one as you're heading into year two with a great deal of speed now, because obviously the season and training is just happening very, very quickly, and season will happen before we know it. Biggest lessons you think you learned for year one of Greenville Football Club that you're applying toward year two? What do you think some of those things might have been?
A lot of people asked us, and even we asked ourselves, well, what did we do wrong, and where can we, fix that or do better at? And there's obviously things we can improve on. There's things we can improve on everywhere, but really, I think one of the main takeaways we had was, let's kind of see how we can do things just bigger and better and make, it more of a, entertaining atmosphere for a family. So really it's family, young adults, whoever's coming to the games. It was important for us to identify, areas where we can almost just do bigger and better things and making a bigger splash and a bigger event out of maybe game days and including some, programming here and there where maybe we do halftime shows or, before the match meetups and how can we logistically pull that off where supporters, are getting together. So really what we're focusing on is how can we take what we did in year one and, I can't say that we're eliminating anything that we did, but really it's how do we add, what's going to be that extra thing that, maybe get somebody else to come to the game, or they have now a reason to come, and it's, just a huge fun event. And really kind of that, I'd say. I think we really had great success in providing that platform and facilitating people coming together kind of, on top of our brand, so they can become, friends. And it was kind of amazing to see that a lot of our supporters, became friends outside of the club. Some of them even spent Thanksgiving with each other, just because, they met through the club, and, they found their similarities and passions. So figuring out how can we, provide more opportunities for our supporters to stay together, get together, become better, friends and whatnot. Because ultimately, that benefits us as a club. The stronger ties we can have with our supporters in the community, ultimately that's how we continue to grow. So I can say you can look out for kind of bigger and improved and better things. But yeah, I'd say that's kind of my answer whenever anybody asks me, what did you do wrong, or what were your pitfalls? It was kind of like, well, I think for the most part we, maybe weren't not completely conservative, but like, we can do some extra things, and kind of add some cool initiatives and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we're looking at.
Well, congratulations on the Youth Academy. Obviously, if folks want to follow along on social media, it's at GVLFC on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram. President and CEO of Greenville FC, Marco Carrizales. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for giving us the update, and congratulations on the new academy. And thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1.
Thank you very much. I always appreciate being on. So look forward to the next time.